The Patriot missile defense systems that United States President Donald Trump promised to deliver to Ukraine will not arrive in our country until the spring of 2026. This was reported by the German publication Spiegel, citing sources in the German government. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius even specifically visited the base where the German air defense systems are located to make sure that it would not be possible to deliver these systems to Ukraine any earlier. And the reason for this is that Trump refused to quickly provide Germany with new systems as replacements. Moreover, due to the change in the supply scheme, Norway, which allocated funds to purchase another Patriot system for Ukraine, is now essentially withdrawing its decision. And not because there is no money, but because it has become impossible to implement. And this is happening because Trump changed the very supply scheme even for the Patriots already sold to Ukraine. Let's analyze this story together. I'm Alexei Pechii. Today is July 23rd. Next, everything in order. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave any comment, and be sure to subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pechii News. The link is in the description of this video. And friends, if you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so financially with any donation on whichever platform you like best. All the links and details are in the description of this video or by the QR code on your screens. I'd appreciate any help you can provide. So, Spiegel reports that for 3 days now, Germany's defense minister Boris Pistorius has been trying to figure out how quickly his country can provide Ukraine with a Patriot system, since Germany has faced a change in the White House's position. Formally, Pistorius went to the military base in Erding on Tuesday to get acquainted with the development of drones for the German armed forces. But that's just formally. In reality, he was trying to figure out what to do about the already loudly promised Patriot system deliveries to Ukraine. And next, I'll give a long quote from Spiegel. This in turn is also connected to the drones that President Vladimir Putin of Russia launches by the hundreds every night, attacking Ukraine. But although these swarms of drones primarily terrorize the civilian population, Putin's army also uses ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and hypersonic weapons. With this high-tech weaponry, Putin intends to deliberately destroy Ukraine's critical infrastructure, power plants and substations, logistics centers such as the port of Odessa, as well as industrial facilities, including those for defense purposes. According to Ukraine's assessment, the most reliable protection against such attacks is currently provided by one air defense system, the American Patriot system. Since May, the German government has been joining efforts to help Ukraine address this problem. In early May, Pistorius proposed to his American colleague, United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, to purchase 2 Patriot systems from the United States and transfer them to Ukraine. Shortly after that, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz also made the same proposal to United States President Donald Trump. In another phone conversation with Merz, Trump reportedly even agreed to sell 5 Patriot batteries. However, the rapid delivery of vital equipment to Ukraine is proving to be a difficult task. Even after Trump announced last week in the Oval Office, in the presence of NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, his intention to send a whole range of weapons to Ukraine, including the Patriot system that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had urgently requested. And today Pistorius was forced to try to reassure everyone, stating that, quote, "It's not hopeless." So, what caused the delay? Why did they make such loud promises? And now it turns out that they simply can't physically deploy the Patriot systems quickly. The whole problem is that the White House changed the very scheme of supplying even the Patriot systems bought by Europeans to Ukraine. Initially, it was assumed that Germany would buy 2 Patriot batteries from the Americans with its own money and then transfer them to Ukraine. Quite quickly, Norway, seeing this scheme, also decided to allocate money for another Patriot battery for Ukraine. They say, if the Germans are buying, we'll also add our own $1 billion for another battery. On July 21st, a seemingly minor but actually very significant news story occurred. At that time, there was a meeting between Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor of Germany, and the Prime Minister of Norway, Jonas Gahr Store, in Berlin. Gahr Store announced his country's readiness to make a significant financial contribution to support Ukraine's air defense. To this, Merz expressed great gratitude to Norway for its willingness to take on part of the expenses. You might think, so what? Well, it's just some passing news, but here's the thing. Initially, Germany simply planned to purchase 2 Patriot batteries from the United States at a price of about 1 billion euros each and deliver them directly to Ukraine without any complicated schemes. However, the American side suggested a different arrangement, which we now know about. The German army first transfers 2 Patriot batteries from its own arsenal to Ukraine and will later receive replacements from the United States. Therefore, at the initial stage, Norway was also ready to finance another battery, following Germany's example. They say, listen, take 1 billion euros from us too, buy more, take 3 at once. But when everything turned out to be much more complicated, now it is becoming technically impossible. Well, that is, Norway is still ready to finance another Patriot battery for Ukraine, but there is simply nowhere to get it, says Norway. But we can't give it, we have nothing to give. The Germans say, listen, we can give 2 in about 6 months. Where can we get a third one? And it turns out that Norway says, we have the money, but physically, where? We will take this system once again. Now, the necessary condition is the willingness of the countries that have these batteries to transfer them now so that others can pay for them, and they could go to Ukraine. After all, as it turned out later, the idea of the United States is that European allies will transfer systems from their military stockpiles and receive replacements later, moving forward in the order of delivery from the American manufacturer. But there's a problem here, and here's a quote from Spiegel. According to government sources, the first system will not be available for at least 8 months. Then Germany will be able to receive the battery that was originally intended for Switzerland. The delivery of all subsequent systems will take even more time. And now the Germans are not sure if they are ready to simply give their Patriot batteries to Ukraine and wait for new ones to be delivered from the Americans. Moreover, they say, listen, we're not sure if the Americans will actually give them to us later. Because originally the plan was different. It was simply buying weapons from the Americans for Ukraine. With this plan, the Germans wouldn't have to touch their own systems, and Norway was ready to buy another system. But in the end, on the eve of the meeting of the Ukraine Contact Group at Ramstein, which Pistorius and his British colleague John Healey co-chaired on Monday, the United States Secretary of Defense announced that there would now be a new plan. But that's not all. Pistorius admitted today that, in addition to Germany and Norway, Sweden and the Netherlands have also announced their readiness to finance the supply of Patriot systems to Ukraine. All these countries are ready to provide money, but again, there are simply no systems available. In total, the participating countries plan to allocate 5 batteries, which will be delivered to Ukraine. But now the question has arisen as to which countries, besides Germany, are willing to give up their batteries now and then wait for months for new systems to arrive from the Americans. Pistorius issued a statement today. It's important that the countries transferring the systems can continue to fulfill their duties within NATO and don't create any gaps in NATO's security system. And today, NATO military officials are gathering to determine which NATO country is most likely to transfer a Patriot system to Ukraine and under what conditions. And next I'll give you another quote from Pistorius, which is very important. It is necessary to come up with a proposal that will receive majority support, take into account our commitments to NATO, and not put our own security at risk. This may require further concessions from the United States. We expect that NATO will then turn to the United States again and make it clear to the manufacturer of the Patriot systems that the countries transferring their systems to Ukraine should receive new systems within just a few months. This commitment must be unshakable. That is, Pistorius, listen to this phrase. This American commitment must be unshakable. That is, the Germans doubt the 100% guarantee that the Americans will fulfill their part of this deal. And yesterday, Pistorius stated that the Bundeswehr would be able to transfer additional Patriot systems to Ukraine from its own arsenal only if Germany immediately receives new systems from the United States. The maximum period in which Germany can deliver the system to Ukraine is 6 to 8 months. I'll leave it at that. Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, hit the bell, and like the video. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye, everyone. Subtitles created by